to another edition of Staying Major. I am your host, Major Pain himself, Eric Menk, and I am coming off a bit of a break. It has been a while since we've been on the podcast on Staying Major, and I just want to thank everyone for coming back, for tuning in, and for sticking with me. As you may or may not know, if you follow me on social media, whether that be on YouTube or whether that be Instagram, and I'd like to encourage you, if you're not following me on those platforms or on Twitter, to please do so. A lot of good content I'm putting out there for you, whether it be on Instagram, the YouTube channel with the vlog and this podcast, or on Twitter, getting my commentary on certain events. You go there, emenk30 on those platforms. Check me out there. But I was on a bit of a vacation with the fam. We took a trip to Southern California and were able to celebrate my parents' 50th wedding anniversary. So if you can imagine that, being married for 50 years, that is quite a long period of time. And it was really nice. We surprised them, and my sister, who's a year younger than me, she's married with a daughter, and we brought our two kids, and the whole family was together. So because people live all over the place, I live in the Philippines, my sister lives in California, my parents live in Michigan. It's very, very rare that we were all able to get together, and I thought it was a nice little celebration with the fam. Just getting together and celebrating 50 years and kind of just showing, it is kind of a bit strange that, you know, my parents are married, they had me, they had my sister, and now I have two kids. My sister has a daughter. We're both married, and just the way the family has grown and everything. So just all because of them. Them being together, them getting married, of course my dad being in the Air Force and meeting my mother here, and then look at all the things that have happened. Now, family has grown, and my parents still together, so it's very, very nice. So we were able to do that for a week. The following week, we were in Orange County, California. Have a couple of vlogs up on YouTube again, so if you haven't seen those, I'd like to encourage you to go to my YouTube channel, the emenk30 on YouTube. Check out those vlogs; they're kind of neat. A lot of nice photos. Did the whole Disneyland, Legoland thing, and it was just overall a stressful trip. Having the kids with you. My daughter is 4 and my son is almost 2, so they're a handful. And unfortunately, I got really sick on the flight back. Luckily, it came on at the very end, the last maybe hour and a half. But I got very sick and was back here for a little while. And just recently, just a few days ago, I got back to feeling normal. But that was a horrible experience. Trying to get it back. I thought we were going to get out of the woods. My wife had gotten a little sick, and then I thought I would be okay and almost made it, but with about 2 hours, hour and a half left on the flight, it started coming on, and man, I was laid up for a little while there. But I'm back on the podcast, and excited to be back. Going to try a little bit of a different format. I'm going to try to do some more frequent shows, but have them be a little shorter. And, of course, I've always talked about having guests on. I like having guests here, but like I said, we're going to go more frequently. And I've missed a ton. So much has happened. Haven't been able to do a podcast about sports, in particular about basketball, during the NBA playoffs, the NBA finals, the NBA draft, and now free agency, not to mention all the stuff going on the local scene. And I want to dive in right away, play a little catch-up here, and I want to talk about the Kiefer Ravena situation. And I feel like I'm a little bit late to the party here. It's about, 2 or 3 weeks old since the news broke that he had failed a drug test and now is going to be serving a 18-month suspension. So that was really big news. I haven't, in my time here in the Philippines, as far as the international scene goes, I haven't seen anyone just have this type of problem. So there's so many things to go over here, and I know everyone has kind of went over some things, but I do want to take a bit of an angle that I didn't see, and that is, because I play basketball, I've been in the locker rooms before, and there's this whole thing now with pre-workout, basically energy drink supplements that people take. This is the reason why Kiefer tested positive for 3 banned substances, also known as performance-enhancing drugs, also known as stimulants. So these pre-workout drinks, what they do is they just give you a bunch of energy. They're packed with nitric oxide, which opens up your blood vessels, so more red blood cells can flow. They also are packed with stimulants, packed with sugar, packed with B vitamins to just give you a bit of a rush. You get a bit of a tingly feeling. If you've never tried a pre-workout drink before a workout, it's an interesting experience. Okay, and there's a number of them out here, and I would say maybe 10 years ago they became popular, not just for guys like bodybuilders, but just guys that want to get workouts in the gym. All of a sudden, I start seeing basketball players taking pre-workout supplements. There was a number of them. NO Explode was big. There was one called Jacked that was big. I took one called Super Pump 2000, I think, one time. There are C4 is one that a lot of guys take. And that's the one that Kiefer said he took, and he tested clean on it a number of times. And then he took something called, I want to say Dust? Something like that. I want to say Dust. It's called Dust. But I wouldn't call it a problem. You don't have to worry about that. In the PBA world, you don't have to worry about testing hot, because they do drug tests, but they drug test for shabu, they drug test for ecstasy, they drug test for weed, and I think that's it. I want to say it's a very lenient testing policy. Now, the WADA, the World Anti-Doping Agency, WADA, they are very strict. They have a very long list of things that they ban, that they consider to enhance performance. That's the whole reason behind it, right? So I know when I was on the national team, there was trainers coming up to me all the time, repeating it time and time again. We need a list of your vitamins, your supplements, everything that you're taking so we can run it against the anti-doping agency's list to see if there's going to be a problem. They were very particular about what you ingested. Everyone on the team was very aware. You'd have to be flat out not paying attention to not know that there's a possibility that I'm going to get drug tested. These drug tests are strict, and my team has to know everything that I'm taking before I enter a competition, because we don't want a situation where you test hot, you embarrass yourself, you embarrass the country, and we might forfeit a game if we happen to win it. It was very, very clear. Very clear. Everyone on the team knew it. Okay? So one of the questions, because I don't like the media spin of it being such a feel-good story, because nobody asked, Chat Reyes, you're running the Gilas program. You have a staff. Did your staff notify the players of what they can take and what they can't take? How often? Kiefer, were you aware of that there's a possibility of you getting drug tested? Kiefer, were you aware that there are banned substances? Did you ever provide a list to your team of what you're taking and what you're not taking? Because just by the look of these pre-workout supplements, just the way they look, the packaging, they don't look like they would pass a strict drug test. Okay? Now, the word was they've taken C4, taken C4, and that was clean. I just think that taking any pre-workout, unless it says right on the packaging, legal for WADA or USADA, which there are a couple of those out there, natural ones, but just taking, if you looked at the packaging of what dust looks like, that's not passing a drug test. Okay? So it was a very, very naive. I know he's a young guy. It was a mistake. People make mistakes. But I also think it was very, very naive of Kiefer to think that he could take a pre-workout supplement, any pre-workout, especially a new one that's called Dust, and think that you might pass a WADA drug test. I'm also shocked that the staff wasn't aware of that. You know, nobody's really asked the staff, hey, well, what's the deal? How come this kid didn't know that this might be illegal? Because he should have known. Okay? Kiefer's 24 years old? Let's put it this way. If you're taking pre-workout supplements when you're 24 years old, that's I don't know. I don't think you should need pre-workouts. Also, how about caffeine? Have you heard of coffee? Have you heard of caffeine pills? Something that doesn't have a ton of stimulants in it. Okay? So I think he should have known better. The staff should have known. And I think there was no real write-up. It was people, the media spin that I saw was kind of a feel-good story where he made a mistake. I like Kiefer. I'm so unfortunate that this has happened. But he should have been aware. It was a bad mistake, and now unfortunately he's paying for it. But this isn't a feel-good story. Like if you're NLEX, how do you feel about the number 2 pick in the draft, the face of your franchise, probably your best player, can't play for you for a year and a half? He's your best player. Like, if you're a teammate of his, you got to be kind of pissed. If you're the management of NLEX, if you're the owner, you got to be kind of pissed that happened. And whose responsibility is that? Kiefer should have known. The staff should have known. The staff obviously didn't make it aware to Kiefer that you can't take it. And I don't want to hear that, it's okay because he didn't take illegal drugs. He only took banned substances. Well, you know what banned substances are also known as? Performance-enhancing drugs. Which means if he intentionally did that, that means he intentionally tried to gain an advantage over his opponent. That's quote-unquote cheating. Okay? So there's a reason why these substances are banned by WADA, because they enhance performance. And if anyone that's taken a pre-workout will know this, there's a reason why people take pre-workout drinks, to gain a performance advantage over the competition. If everyone on the court, everyone that's competing is not taking a pre-workout, and you are, that has not just one banned substance, but 3 banned stimulants, you're going to have an advantage over the competition. So I would have liked to have heard, did he do it on purpose? Did he know? Did he not know? If he didn't know, whose fault is that? It's got to be the staff's. If he knew and he still did it, then that's really irresponsible. So I just wanted to cover that because I just didn't think that people spun it. It was all like, we stand by Kiefer. Okay, you stand by him. I wish him the best. I like him. He's a likable guy. But it's also a pretty naive mistake to make during an international competition where you're representing the country and you're 24 years old and you're taking a pre-workout drink before an international competition. That's 101. That's 101, So I hope that he learns from this. I did see that he is speaking about to the Olympic Committee, Philippine Olympic Committee, about doping and stuff and things like that. So that is good, but it's going to be a long year and a half. And there's been a couple instances now, whether it be the dick pics from a year ago that were out on the internet, or whether it be this whole thing. But there's been a couple mess ups here by Kiefer, and I just would like to see him learn from his mistakes. That's all. I like him. I wish him the best. I'm the one that said I thought they should have taken him number 1 over San Miguel, should have taken him number 1 ahead of Stan Hardinger. So I'm a big fan of Kiefer. I just didn't like the media spin of, oh, it's okay. It's okay. We stand by him. At least it wasn't illegal drugs. It was just banned substances. It's not okay, and it's not a feel-good story. It was a naive mistake. Banned substances, there's a reason why these substances were banned, and there were 3 of them, because they're also called performance-enhancing drugs. So I'm in Kiefer's corner. I hope that he learns from it and he's able to bounce back. It's again, missing out on a year and a half of your career. Man, there's a reason why the penalty is that stiff. So hopefully he'll be able to bounce back and he'll be able to restore his image. The thing was, for me, it was already like a PR spin to not mess up his image before we actually got to the root of the problem. Like, how did this happen? How did this happen? Maybe it's not all Kiefer's fault. Maybe it's some of the staff needs to take a look. They need to take a look at their staff. And, we got international competitions coming up here. Hopefully nobody else will make that type of mistake. So moving on, the next topic I want to talk about is my thoughts on the NBA draft. The NBA draft is one of my favorite sporting events of the year. Big fan of the NBA draft. And if you follow me on Twitter at emenk30, I pretty much gave you a diary there. I gave you my big board before the draft. And what my big board was what I thought the value of each player was going in and projecting in the future. Not the order that I thought. Because everybody thought DeAndre Ayton, is that his name? Ayton was going to go number 1. Everyone knew that. But I had, just like everybody else, the weird thing is, I Draft Express, which is now on ESPN bought Draft Express. Their number 1 job, the only thing they do the whole year is scout for the NBA draft. They make videos. They do a heck of a job, probably the best job, them and the Ringer, I think, at covering the NBA draft. Well, they're 2 guys that run that website. They both had Doncic ranked number 1. Bleacher Report, the guy that does Bleacher Report, he had Doncic number 1. All 3 guys at the Ringer that do the NBA draft, that covered the NBA draft pretty thoroughly, they all had Doncic ranked number 1. So I found it funny that 3 teams passed on him. So I think Dallas was the big winner by getting him. People have speculated, and the thing about him is there isn't a great track record for guards or even wing players from Europe translating to the NBA. Okay, they have a pretty decent track record for big guys. There's been some really good hits, and there's been a few misses, of course, when you talk about Sheets Vili and Darko and guys like that. But then there's also been Gasol. There's also been Porzingis. There's also been Nowitzki. There's been Sabonis. So if you're a big guy, Europe, people tend to concede the projection to the NBA. But with a guard or a wing, they don't have as good of a track record. The thing I would say is I don't know what the kid would have to do to raise his stock anymore. I mean, the guy was on he was the second best player on the Eurobasket, the European Championship team. It was him and Goran Dragic. He won. He was on the all-tournament team at 18, and they won the European title. Slovenia did. He was the best player on Real Madrid. Real Madrid was the best team in Europe. He was their primary playmaker. their best player. He won the EuroLeague MVP. Then he won the EuroLeague Final Four MVP. Then they won the ACB championship in Spain. So he was the primary playmaker on the best team in Europe at 19 years old. So I don't know what else he could have done to prove that his values, but 3 teams still passed on him. I don't think I'll ever understand that. We'll see how he does, but I thought he was a lock. I seriously, like, some people think, oh, it's the hype, or he's not that athletic. But do you realize what Real Madrid would have done to the University of Arizona? They would have crushed him. They would have crushed Villanova, who won the national title. Like, Real Madrid probably beats 5 or 6 NBA teams last year. That's how good they are. And he was their best player. Primary playmaker. So, obviously, I thought he should have went 1. I thought Atlanta was, like, they traded him away to draft Trae Young. I see what they're doing at Atlanta. Trae Young is their guy. I personally think he's going to have some serious problems defending. And we'll see if his shooting is able to translate with his accuracy. You know, he has turnover problems and he's got size problem. So they're going to really hunt him down. He might be a guy that's exciting to watch, but Atlanta's a ways away from making the playoffs. But they would definitely hunt him down on defense to expose Trae Young. So because all these guys are 18, 19 years old, it is a tough. Everyone's got a flaw, right? Whether it be DeAndre Ayton, he hasn't played good defense. Despite being 6'11" and having a 7'5" wingspan, he was not good on defense in high school or college. It's hard for me to comprehend, but that's a big-time problem, especially if Phoenix eventually makes the playoffs. Because centers right now is a weird thing. Same thing with Marvin Bagley. Bagley had a really good year at Duke. He's 6'11". He's a great athlete. He's a great rebounder. He plays hard, but he's not much of a defender. He doesn't have a long wingspan, which also hurts his defense. He's really all left around the basket, which at times makes him look awkward. So he's a guy that might put up good numbers on a bad team. Is he your center? But he doesn't block shots and he doesn't stretch the defense. I don't know. So all these guys have question marks. The reason I liked guys like Mo Bamba, I know what he is. Everyone's talking about, if his three-point shot develops, he could really have something. But even if it doesn't develop, I know I got a 7-foot guy with a 7'10" wingspan that will protect the rim. There's questions about his effort. Does he play hard? Does he play as hard as a Clint Capella plays? Does he play as hard as a Rudy Gobert plays? Because one of the reasons why those guys are so good, along with their size and athletic ability, those guys play hard. So that's what Mo Bamba's going to have to do. And then if he develops, he can make free throws. I like that. It's not a DeAndre or Jordan situation. It's not a Shaquille O'Neal situation. So I know I got a rim protector. I know a guy that can make free throws. And if he gets a little better in the post, and if he can make 35% of his wide open three-point shots, now you really have something. Didn't really like the fit for him because Orlando doesn't have a point guard and they don't have anyone that can put the ball in the basket. But they have some length up front with Aaron Gordon, Jonathan Isaac. We don't know what he is, and now Mo Bamba. So Mo Bamba not a great situation for him, but I like him because I know what I got. Jaren Jackson Jr., not the best college player. I thought Michigan State didn't use him right. They didn't play him enough. Tom Izzo, what the hell were you doing? Terrible job last year. But Jaren Jackson's a defensive first big man that projects to be able to slide his feet on the perimeter and also block shots. He has the same block rate as Mo Bamba. So he's a good rim protector. He slides his feet. He has good lateral quickness. He's also one of the youngest in the draft. He makes free throws 80%, and he made threes in college at 40%. So maybe he's not ever going to be an all-star, but he could be a quality starter. He's a guy that looks like his defense would project to a good team in the playoffs. I like him. That's what I like, guys where I know what I'm getting. That's why I was high on those guys. You look at maybe Michael Porter Jr., great selection at 14 for Denver. I like that there were some serious red flags that went up with maybe some of his interviews, with back injuries being so young. I question what he can bring to the table if he's not scoring. If he can score efficiently at the NBA level, you might have something there. But can he do that? And if he doesn't do that, what else does he do? That's my concerns with him. But at 14, it's worth the risk. I like that he's going to a good team that doesn't need him. So he probably is not going to play. He might redshirt next year, but he probably won't play a lot. And that's good. He can just sit back and learn, and if bring him along slowly, and maybe 3 years practicing and playing and being trained by an NBA staff could have something there. So I thought the Clippers probably should have taken him. But, I just wanted to go over those two things. I wanted to go over Kiefer. I wanted to go over the NBA draft. That's going to be it for this episode of Staying Major. I'd like to thank our sponsors, A-Game After Sport Rub Down, an alcologne that smells great, that is sport-specifically designed for your recovery. Go to agamesport.com. Use the promo code EMENK30 to get 20% off your purchase. I use this. It's great. Check it out. Express Hoops. Or is it Hoops Express? I don't know. Let me look it up. Should probably know our sponsor's name. Let me see here. It is expresshoops.ph. If you're looking to book a basketball court, this is absolutely the easiest way to do it. Go to expresshoops.ph. Book a basketball court in Metro Manila. When you do, use the promo code STAYINGMAJOR to win a prize from this podcast. So, I will be back. I'm going to try to be back tomorrow because I want to talk NBA free agency. We got the Gilas games coming up. I think they play Taipei first. So, want to talk about all of that. Check out the YouTube channel. I'm going to be posting a lot more videos of this podcast on there. What else? Facebook page. Go ahead, hit the like button. Join the community of over 26,000 people I have that are following me there. And go to Staying Major, at Staying Major on Twitter. So that's going to be it for today. Y'all have a good one. It's great to be back. Thank you for tuning in. And I will be back tomorrow for another episode of Staying Major. Until then, I am Eric Menk, and this has been Staying Major. Thanks for watching. You can subscribe to my channel by clicking on my face right here. Don't forget to check out the important links in the description below, and for more Staying Major, click on the video over there. We'll see you next time.